Hi, my name is Mary Jane, and what I like about Troy, Ohio is it's comfortable, it's familiar, and I just feel so much at home here. This is the Troy Show.
Hi everybody, I'm with Bill Lutz. You may recognize him from his side hustle on City Council as an at-large councilman, but some of you may not be aware of his day job, and I think that is one of the specific reasons why you have such an insight into the overall city as a whole. Will you tell some people about what exactly you do?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
Yes.
I am the executive director of New Path. We are the outreach arm of Ginghamsburg Church out of Tip City. We do a lot of things to help people in poverty. Most notably, we have food pantries. We have one in Tip City. We have one in Piqua. But we see a lot of people from Troy come to those food pantries that we have. We also operate a couple of small retail stores. We have the Gleaning Place in West Milton. We have Anna's Closet here in Troy over by Joe Johnson. We help families earn cars. We provide medical equipment to families in need out of Give in Covington. And so we just do a whole bunch of stuff for folks in poverty.
Now, one of the things that's happened in the last year, obviously, is the mayor's race, and we're going to get to that. And there's a lot of moving parts here, with the two candidates representing essentially two very different views on the city. And if you had a chance to watch the Meet the Candidate night that I know you and I both participated in as audience members, one of the things that struck me, and I think it did you too, was how Troy was portrayed as a very awesome place, to steal Brock Heath's words. And in a lot of ways it is. But bringing in your perspective with New Path, Troy still has a 14% poverty rate. There are still people that are struggling day to day. What is the city doing to help them?
Well, it's difficult for the city as an entity to do those types of things. The city operates within the framework of the Ohio Revised Code, so there's legal restraints. Sometimes there's even financial restraints. You just don't have the money to do the things that you want to do. But fortunately, in our community, we have other community partners like the United Way, like New Path, like Partners in Hope, like Health Partners Free Clinic, that can come around and provide a holistic approach to help those families in poverty. So for us, we're not looking to the government necessarily to provide solutions to the problems that we face. Rather, we're looking at each other.
Okay.
And we're looking at foundations, and we're looking at the philanthropic community to help us create solutions to really our most vulnerable citizens in our community. When you work with people in poverty, it's really easy to fall into the trap where you think that poverty is simply a lack of money. And it's not. There's other resources that these families are missing. Perhaps they don't have a strong social structure at home. Perhaps they don't have a social structure outside of their home that keeps them grounded in ways that they can find new opportunities for themselves. Perhaps they don't have education. All of this plays into who we are as people, and just because we don't have money, we could still be in poverty in other ways. And so what we try to do, all of the nonprofits, is look at folks in a more holistic manner and say, okay, what can we do to help you improve your life? If that means more money, we'll try to find you a job. But if there's other things out there, what can we do to help you?
And I think that ties into one of the other things that we noticed during the candidate session at Troy Junior High School was that one of the mayor candidates brought up lack of transportation as a significant issue facing the city. And it caught a lot of people off guard, myself included, and I think the other mayor candidate remarked that she wasn't aware that that was an issue. How much of that is a city factor?
Honestly, not much. I mean, in Ohio, most of the public transportation type issues are handled by counties.
Right.
So like, look at RTA. That is a Montgomery County function. It is paid through a county sales tax. Take a look here at Miami County. We have a transit system that is operated by the county. So cities don't really have much of a role to play, other than they can work with agencies that already exist in the community. One of the other things I do is I work with this group called the Miami County Continuum of Care.
Okay.
And we started a Rides to Work program about 6 years ago. Last year we gave over 5,800 rides
Wow.
to
Wow.
folks getting from where they are to where they work.
Okay.
And then give them a return trip back. And the way that we structure it, if you're new to the program, and to get into the program, you have to have some connection with the human service agency already in Miami County.
Mhm.
So you had to have been helped by the Buckeye House or Partners in Hope or the Family Abuse Shelter. The structure of the program was designed to help people get into a frame where they can now get a job.
Okay.
And so for the first few weeks, those are free rides. And then after a few weeks, it's $1 a ride. And then after a few more weeks, it's $2 a ride. You know, public transit in Miami County, it's $4 a ride. So if you're making a minimum wage job, all right, let's say even this. Let's say you're making a $10 an hour.
Which is over minimum wage.
Which is
for
over
a lot of
minimum
people,
wage.
right?
And you work 8 hours a day, so that's $80.
Mhm.
It will cost you 8 of those $80 to get to and from your place of employment if you use public transit.
I mean, that's 10% of your whole day.
That's
just
10%. That's
right.
10% of your money gone.
Yeah.
And that's before taxes.
Wow.
So it's very difficult to live. It's very difficult to live when 10% of your money is just gone by public transit,
Right.
if that's the way that you want to get to work. And you know, we even hear stories where somebody will go to a place of employment and they'll say, "Hey, guess what? We would love to hire you. Can you start tomorrow?" I don't have a ride here.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, just that one basic thing of getting people into the door, getting them employment, it is a challenge. And so the Rides to Work program has come on and said, "Hey, we've got a program here where we can make that $8 cost free to begin with,
Mm.
and we can make sure that you're getting a ride to and from work. We're going to make sure that you have a relationship with the driver that will take you there, that will kind of help you, hold you accountable to some of the things. If you have questions about things that come up in life, like how do you pay a water bill?
Yeah.
Some of these people don't know that.
Oh, I believe
The
that.
drivers know.
Yeah.
And so the drivers end up kind of taking a mentor role many times in the lives of the folks that they're trying to help.
Yeah.
And so that goes back to that whole thing, trying to help the whole person.
Right. Now, for those who are watching that may actually know somebody that is in that need or maybe in that need themselves, how do they get connected with that?
Well, what they should do, if they know those individuals, they should challenge those individuals to get involved with a human service agency in Miami County. So that would be a group like Partners in Hope or Family Abuse Shelter, MCRC. There's a whole bunch of different groups. We don't advertise the program because we would get inundated with requests.
Yes, there is not enough manpower.
Correct.
Right.
And so for us, it's let's take a look at the folks that are already within our sphere and let's work with those
Okay.
folks.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that you do operate some soup kitchens and some food assistance
Food
programs.
pantries, yeah.
There has, in the last couple of years, become a little bit of what some people are starting to call online a food desert in Troy, specifically as West Troy begins to expand. For a lot of people, and I see them, you see them on Main Street especially, walking to and fro with 10 bags of groceries. What can the city do? And I'm talking to City Councilman Bill now.
Yeah.
What can the city do at all to help those
Well,
people?
you know, what we really want to try to do is encourage the private sector to make investments in those neighborhoods in which a small market would be helpful.
Okay.
And the problem is now you're getting into kind of an economic issue. The big box stores aren't necessarily looking at the east side of Troy as an attractive place to put in a grocery store.
Right.
And by the same token, you do know that if a grocery store was put in there, their costs might be higher, and therefore their prices to the consumer might be higher. Things that we can do is we can start working on issues of accessibility and walkability to make it less scary, for lack of a better term, of getting over to Walmart if that's where you want to do your grocery shopping.
Well, I think a lot of people, if you've ever had the opportunity to walk on parts of West Main Street, will say it's very dangerous. The sidewalks themselves have crumbled in a lot of areas, which leads to the redesign project in a couple of years.
Yeah.
You've seen the flags in the yard. Can you tell us kind of where we're at in that process?
It's in the design process right now, and I believe construction is going to happen, I believe, starting in 2021.
2021?
I believe.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've looked
Yes,
at that.
no, understandable. And we hear bits and pieces about, they're going to redo Main Street. And what is that going to mean for the city? Is it going to be a complete shutdown, redivert, like we saw with McKay?
It might.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if those decisions have necessarily been made.
Right.
I mean, 41 is the highest traveled street in the city of Troy, bar none, other than maybe the interstate. There's a lot of traffic, a lot of commerce that goes on that road, and of course, if you just full stop shut it down, that's going to have some negative ramifications for everybody. And what they do with street reconstruction now is there are opportunities to fix a part while you keep one part open. Will it be convenient? Heavens no. But I do believe that we have people that will work that will make it as painless as possible.
Yeah, and a lot of that is simply because of the business is located on West Main Street as well. You think all of the center of commerce leading into downtown that is along that strip, that's certainly one thing that we'll have to kind of keep in mind as people are accessing that grocery.
Yeah.
So something to definitely work on. Now, there has been a lot of things going on in Troy, and we're fortunate enough right now to be broadcasting from Hainer Cultural Center, which I think you remarked as we were setting up today, this may be one of the most well-known rooms in the entire city of Troy. So
Correct.
We just wanted to take a moment and say thank you to the staff at Hainer for welcoming the Troy show into this historic piece of Troy, essentially. Now, with everything going on, and I think a lot of people will agree that change is happening very rapidly in the city, between the new hospital, a lot of road construction, just the expansion of business in general. Is this similar to what we experienced in the early 90s with the West Troy development, or do you see this as some other sort of development type?
Yeah, I'll push back a little. I don't think we're growing at a breakneck speed.
Okay.
I mean, Troy's been around since 1814. And in that 1820 census, I think we had 237 residents. Well, guess what? Toledo didn't even exist in 1820.
Right.
Cincinnati had, I think, 6,000 people in 1820. And I say that to say we have had a long history of slow but productive growth. And I think that's kind of the mode we're in. I think that's what residents expect. Residents understand that growth is a good and positive and necessary thing for our community, but you don't want to turn into a place like a Glendale, Arizona that didn't exist 50 years ago, and now you've got 80,000 people. Our biggest struggle with growth is that we don't want to lose the fabric of what this community is. This room represents that perhaps more than anything else. If you start growing too fast, you begin to have identity issues of what this community really is and what this community really means. I'm a 7th generation Trojan. My family came over to build the canals on the east side of town. Troy is in my blood. And so when you start talking about growth and you start talking about change, there's a lot of residents like myself and older residents who are like, well, what's that going to mean for our community?
Right.
And not so much of the economic issues, the financial issues. It's like, what's that going to mean for our community identity? And so it's just stuff we have to work through. But, as long as we understand that we are a community of neighbors, we live in a very generous place, and we have a strong history, I have every confidence that we'll do fine.
And a big thanks to Bill for joining us on this first episode of The Troy Show. We're going to be coming to you every week on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, right here from Hainer Cultural Center, with the people, places, and things that make Troy such a great place to live. And we're going to be addressing some of the issues that Troy could do better. Please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Instagram, and tell your friends to tune in to The Troy Show, as next week we'll have a brand new episode with another famous person right here in Troy, Ohio. Until then, I'm JT Szabo, and this is The Troy Show.